Hello and welcome to the Dillon Dialogue. I'm Kerstin Anderson and I'm here with Mayor Keven Burns.
Hey everybody.
And Town Manager Tom Breslin.
So it's great to be here. This is my first time back on Dillon Dialogue for a while now.
We've missed you, buddy.
Yeah, it's great to be back. It's particularly nice to be at this month's Dillon Dialogue because we're right at that perfect time. We're starting our budget process, preparing for next year, but we just came off of we're just at the end of our summer season, which was spectacular. So we get to report out on that a little bit.
Awesome. Everything, thinking back from the air show in June to the beer fest, all of the great summer concerts we had, how much fun we had at the farmers market all year.
Yeah.
And then wrapping the summer up with the 106 West Triathlon, a historical moment here in Summit County.
Yep, it was quite the event, and although it had some glitches, we're going to try and iron them out and move forward. So it was a great event, though. Perfect weather, great way to wrap up the season.
Right. So lest anyone think that we're sitting back and just enjoying the fall colors, which we are. We're also doing just a ton of work with our amphitheater project, our economic development, and the 10-year and the capital plan, as you mentioned, Keven. So, Tom, maybe do you want to walk us through some of that?
Before we get to that big part, we're doing quite a bit of budget work at this time of year. We're rolling. Actually, the presentation will be Tuesday night for those of you who do catch this early. The budget presentation will be wrapped up Tuesday night, and the town is in a rather good economic shape relative to the economic downturn of 2008 to 2013. We're in good shape, and sales tax is up, which is a trend countywide and statewide, so that gives us more funds to reinvest in the town. So based on those trends, we worked on a 10-year capital plan. We looked back at what the town had done over the past 10 years. And actually, they spent about $25 million in capital, a good portion of that on roads projects from a dedicated 0.5 sales tax, and the rest on ongoing capital, computers, vehicles, rotation. It was it was a good plan, it was sustainable, and we decided to look forward to what we wanted to do for the next 10 years. And we plan on investing about the same $26 million into some big projects. One of them being the amphitheater, and then we're also town park. Those are the big numbers, along with reinvestment in the vehicles and a lot of roads projects still left to do. So I'll
say one of the things I liked when you presented that 10-year plan was besides the fact that, as you said, it helped to contextualize that we are doing these big projects, but they're actually in line with what what the town's has been doing for the last 10 years in terms of expenditures, and for some of the things I think that are important to some local residents, amphitheater improvements, town park improvements that actually sort of accelerated and put on a pretty good aggressive timeline some of these projects that we've been working on over the years, and actually getting them, getting shovels on the ground and getting them ready. So it was pretty exciting to see all that and actually take kind of that longer view, so we can actually get some projects going, which hasn't, sometimes it's hard to see how you get from A to B. So it was great to actually see that get all put together.
And that we have money to make these projects happen, and then still keep the roads clear and all those great amenities that our residents have come to know and love.
It's a very well balanced plan. So and we're not breaking down to the last dollar. At the end of 10 years, we'll have we were redoing the numbers again today, we'll have 2.6 million still in the capital fund at the end of the 10 years. So, so I think it's great. It's good to have town in this kind of shape, and we could do things that the town has talked about doing for years. So let me start off with probably the cornerstone of our 10-year capital plan, and that is the amphitheater reconstruction. This is an early rendering. What we found out is, when the first amphitheater we found pictures of was in 1991, it was about as big as this stage that we're sitting on. And then in 95, I believe, around 95, they built the current Amphitheater. And since then, the number of people that come to use this facility on a weekly basis has just gone off the charts relative to what they anticipated when they first started. So, we sat around with council and we brainstormed about a lot of things. And Keven, well, I want to just say, this is, I'll show you some other elevations of the stage that have the materials that'll be on there. This is kind of a placeholder, but it looks quite a bit different. I'll show you in another slide. But Keven, the top here is going to change, but these components are a ticket booth, restrooms, and a concession stand, and there's a nice plaza over here. And
so one of the things that I like about this plan, it shows, is say this, some of the renderings are outdated, but you do get to see, like, you can utilize a lot more of the greens, the green space, the lawn that currently is at a pretty high pitch. One of the things that I like that we're doing is making that, like, we're regrading that so people aren't going to just roll down the hill as they're trying to watch a show now, which you see quite a bit. It's sort of fun if you're a kid, probably less so if
My
you're...
5-year-old loves it, but makes me a little nervous. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's, when I'm looking at that with this overall picture, that's one of the things that really stands out is there's right now there's like large swaths of grass that pretty rarely get used, and we should be able to spread people out more and have them utilize the entire amphitheater complex, which is nice. One of the other pieces that I think I always like touching on with this project is the ADA access is going to be significantly better off in the part of the interesting logistics of the project is figuring out how you have to make all parts of the amphitheater ADA accessible, which is not currently. It's something that has always kind of bugged me. It doesn't seem like the right, doesn't seem right for a public facility not to have that. And Tom, I think as you pointed out there will be pathways down so that we'll have wheelchair access down to the bottom of the stage, and we'll have some special ADA areas throughout different parts of the amphitheater, which I think are just sort of besides being a requirement, it's sort of the right thing to do.
Yeah, and when we in defense of the town, the original amphitheater was built prior to probably the ADA laws even being envisioned. Yeah. So also what I heard from council that they hear from the public all the time is that we need more restrooms. We have lines up there, we have porta potties. We plan on putting probably 50 to 60 restrooms between the upper restrooms, and there'll be some restrooms down here, as well as potential concession down here. Yeah. So,
and that's actually, Tom, can you talk a little bit about the restrooms down in the lower part of the facility, because it's not going to be just for the amphitheater, right?
Correct, Keven. Yeah. Right now, as a matter of fact, there's some work going on this right now. We're putting in some infrastructure in to support this building when it goes to final design. And one of the things we're doing is we're putting a turnaround in down by the rec path down there, which is behind the building over here. And what that'll do, though, we'll have these restrooms on the backside of this building, and they'll be accessible from the rec path, which is something, there are no restrooms from Frisco to Keystone, so this will be an excellent stop for the, the hikers and the bikers on the path. And it was a good idea to integrate that into this development too. So we are working on this now, and we hope to we're going to construction level drawings very soon once the materials are selected, and then we'll go out to bid sometime around February and hope to begin construction next summer. So it's an aggressive timeline, but we think we can keep it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've loved about this process as we met with community groups and we talked with council is keeping the character of the facility and paying attention to view quarters was really up front and center with this project. And so we were able to, the stage is going to be pushed back, correct, Tom? So that allows us to drop a few feet in terms of elevation, and then it's set back. And so while we are increasing the size of the amphitheater, which for me is really important with the operations team and what they're able to sort of put together on a shoestring now, and being able to have facilities that bands want to come, and a private green room with actually attached bathrooms and things like that that are really important in the industry, we're able to increase that footprint and still just maintain really great views of the mountains and the surrounding area.
Yep, and the stage will be higher. There'll be. We did hear a lot from the community when we first put this out. We had a fixed seating component down here. Apparently, the dance community of Summit County was not in favor of that. So we actually we set this up so that if we have an event where we need fixed seating in there, we can bring in chairs and then bring them out. So we're excited. I'll give you a couple of quick looks at some of the other components here. As you can see, you first saw it was all blocked. So, that was just a kind of a placeholder. These are some of the finishes that the council is looking. This is from the lakeside. We started out with a pretty boring building back there. One color, one type. It didn't look good. Now that we have these different finishes that we can select, it'll break that, big flat appearance. So that's the back of the amphitheater. This is the main entrance up top. As I talked about before, the restrooms over here. Ticket booth and concession stands over here.
I happened to be at the end of the summer down at the amphitheater, and there was a huge thunderstorm, and the sky just opened up, and I think that that main entrance roof is going to be really well utilized, not only at events but just for kind of public families that I saw sort of getting drenched. So it gives just a little bit, in addition to the pavilion, just another area of respite.
Yeah, we do live in the Rocky Mountains. Sometimes those come through, and people do go fleeing for cover. I'll mention, just since you brought up the ticket booth, since we are on camera, some people have asked questions about whether we're trying to transition to paid concerts, and certainly there's an interest in trying to expand the programming, which could include some paid programming. But the direction from council, and certainly from hearing feedback from the community, is really clear that there's that we're not that the goal here and the intent is not to supplant the sort of the free programming that everybody loves, and that is really does distinguish Dillon from some other venues in the area, and then that's something that we ask if that's a tie-in, and the answer is no. These are this is a project that makes a lot of sense, even without a paid concert component, and that helps make the amphitheater more successful for free concerts and for that kind of programming that people love now. So just want to make sure that it's out there again. If people for folks who are watching at home, if you're wondering whether you're still going to get like your Friday and Saturday night concerts, absolutely that's the case. So good point, Kevin. We also hope to expand the programming. Right now we have music and we have a couple of dance nights down there, but maybe somebody puts a play on down there, or we do different kind of music. We get an orchestra. We're going to have a stage that's capable of doing that. And we're really trying to look forward to the next 25, 30 years.
There's really...
Plus the evolution over the last 25 years has been remarkable. So.
Right. And, I talk with other people in the community that are operating some of our other really great venues, and, they all look at what we've got and look at the capacity there and say, what an opportunity we have. And so to think about, with this new facility in place, when we do have some paid concerts, the ability to bring something in that we would never be able to afford as a town on our budget, and offset that cost, and just some of the really unique, intimate experiences that we can provide. I think absolutely the Dillon Amphitheater can be recognized as one of the top outdoor venues in the state of Colorado, if not nationally. So that's what we're working towards too.
Absolutely.
Good. All right, well, this is the inside of the last picture I showed you, with, again, the concessions and ticket booths over here and the restrooms over here. So council will be picking, discussing And here's the front stage. And see, we don't have ballet here presently, but you never know. So, this is a look at the stage from sitting in the middle of the venue and the different material selections that council will be picking from. So, okay, while I'm not there, while we're on a 10-year capital plan, one of the second biggest projects we have and that we will be rolling out in 2019 is, whoop, that's not too good. Let me fix that. This is the town park. Now I'm going to throw this to Keven because Keven started in the town, I believe, in Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, and the town has been talking about this park. For point of reference, this is the Dillon Town Hall, okay, and the baseball field back here, and then all this goes up to Tenderfoot Street, down Labonte. This is tennis courts that are on Labonte presently. So, Keven, you want to talk about the evolution of this?
So as you mentioned, in the 10-year plan, one of the things that I think a lot of people are excited about is, along with this ambitious amphitheater project, we also were able to accelerate some of the some of the proposals for moving forward with the Dillon Town Park Master Plan. It's been talked about since at least when I was on the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee 6 or 7 years ago, or whatever it was. In 2013, anybody who lives in town and watches this show regularly would remember that we had several public meetings, a lot of community input on developing the actual town park master plan that you see up there, and it was a great job. It was spearheaded by our Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. A lot of great community input, and as you can probably point out a few of the features, Tom. But there's it really creates it really preserves the feel of the town park, keeps it this great sort of local community park. And protects and enhances the existing features, and then just makes it, just makes it sort of a more walkable, usable town park, sort of from beginning to end. I think right now we have a lot of, we have some very popular features of the town park, but then a few areas that are also underutilized, and so this just sort of preserves this, beautiful green space in the middle of our town core for future generations. And right now we got some grant money to pursue more detailed plans for the town park, and I think those will be coming up any time now.
We're doing some value engineering on some of the cost estimates on the preliminary phase 1, which is mostly, say, this area of the park. And we're working on those, and they'll be presented to council probably sometime in November. So, and the town actually is investing in their parks because we just finished last year we finished the Marina Park, which is quite nice. We get a lot of compliments on it. It has great playgrounds. The kids, you go down there any day of the week and some places packed. So it's great. And as an interesting thing, as part of the process to apply for these grants, you have to interview the user groups. So we had several.
Dillon Valley Elementary and the preschools in the area, they all did an exercise. They were drawing things, they were looking at materials, and they put together a sort of wish board for what they want to see in that park. And that's what, ultimately those two, there's going to be a play area for younger kids and a play area for a little bit older kids. And that's what those parks are going to be comprised of. So a lot of community buy-in to think about these kids who get to weigh in on this and then see it come to fruition is really pretty neat. Some of the other things that I love about this design is, so the baseball field is going to be leveled off, and it's going to become a multi-use field. So just broadening the accessibility and the use in the greater community. The fact that some of the parking there, so there's going to be dedicated parking that's one way, and that eventually will allow us to move the farmers market into that area, and so free up a lot more parking within the town on farmers market days. And then what a neat setting for the farmers market.
It really is. So This is planned for implementation 2019 and 2020 phase one. And of course, depending, we'll get more done if there's more tax revenue and the grants come our way. It'll be good.
Yeah.
So while I'm up here talking about the town center, some of this stuff, it's important to show that the town's investing in the town. And we have an aggressive plan to go forward and try and revitalize the town core. So behind this I have, let's see, what do we got here? Okay. This is a project that's been approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Town Council. And you probably figure, where is this? Well, this is right across the street from the town hall where Ivano Adaborgo has his pizzeria and restaurant. So that was approved by P&Z a couple of months ago. It has some interesting architectural components. I like to call them mountain modern, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. So we think this Planning and Zoning feels that this is a good project, and so does the town. So Ivano's out there working on financing it, and he hopes to kick it off next year. So this would be great.
What we know is that density is really important for the town to be successful and vibrant and vital. And so, Keven, we've talked about this a lot. These projects that are going to bring in year-round sort of foot traffic is sort of the building block from which all economic development has to grow from.
Right. I certainly, we've since I've been on council, we're certainly always taught, one of the priorities for for myself and for everyone else I've served with, and for people before me, and I'm sure certain people after me, is how do you continue to how do you redevelop or continue developing the town core area, and it's one of the sort of the tricky elements for the town of Dillon is how is creating that base of folks who do live here year round, who are gonna I get a lot of times, it's like, wouldn't it be great if the town could help get a coffee shop on the corner open up, which it absolutely would be. It's tough to do that if it's tough to open up that shop if only a few months a year you're going to have these spikes in business, and then other months there's just not enough year round or long-term residents to help sustain some of these restaurants and businesses that we're all looking for. So part of an important part of our economic redevelopment efforts is finding development opportunities where like the phase one of this gateway project here, where we will start seeing some more year-round activity generated in the downtown area. I think Ivano has a pretty great vision of how to bring more people into the downtown area, and then he also includes some commercial components to his plan, which is important. So I think that's again, for longtime viewers of the show, that the gateway project is something we've talked about for a long time in the past, since I first got on council, and so it's really exciting to see this, a really important component of that taking off.
Yep. And one of the other things that the council worked on with Ivano when he built it is the workforce housing component. Actually, there'll be 65 units in here, and 17 of them are going to be dedicated to people that live or work more than 30 hours in Summit County. And actually 3 of those 17 units will be AMI based on the rentals. So we're excited to be able to contribute that and to get the project kicked off. And going forward, that's a very important thing at Pearson, Dillon, and in Summit County. So while I'm still up here again, I'll continue, and this is the last one I will show you. This is a plan. These areas in blue are owned by the town of Dillon. And what we wanted to do is potentially put these lots out for redevelopment and revitalization of downtown core area. And one of the ways we can do this is through our Urban Renewal Authority, where we can transfer the land for less than fair market value in exchange for projects that the town wants. And it's a possibility that some of the properties that are older could be combined with some of the lots that we own, and most of them are parking. A lot of them are parking. These lots over here are not parking, but most of them are parking. But we did a parking study, and we've analyzed and reset things, and we have enough parking to support this kind of economic development. And did you want to talk about, we had these out on the market already. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so lots 16R and 17A, we've actually moved forward with a little bit ahead of the others, and part of that is, that sort of this sort of backside of the Dillon town core is has maybe some different considerations than areas closer to Lake Dillon Drive, which we see as being being more more prime for commercial redevelopment. One of the main things is that adjacent to lot 17A, as you can see on the map, is actually a Colorado Mountain College. I know that there's a lot of interest in trying to sort of improve and expand the higher education opportunities in the town of Dillon. I think we're hopeful that we'll see some future opportunities for partnership with Colorado Mountain College on that area specifically. And then along the backside, there's also, to get to the point of density, there's also some opportunities for some potential residential redevelopment in that area. If you help fill in some of the residential in the back area, that creates that just generates some more traffic, some more activity, that as you start looking at these other lots, it just makes them that much more enticing. So we're sort of taking a look at filling, going from the outer edges inwards is one way to look at it. And I think that's a smart way to redevelop, so that your some of your most prime areas for redevelopment, you're saving to make sure they're in the best position possible to go forward with that development. So I think we're excited to hopefully see some initial movement on these lots 16 and 17. And we'll be moving forward with some of these other lots here in the near future as well.
Yes, we brought this to the town council last September for we had already replatted these lots over by the college, and these other lots we brought for replatting last September. We got some input from the citizens. And the council felt that we should investigate this more deeply, which we did. We engaged the community almost individually, people that had concerns about it, and we also we engaged. Oh, and we set up a visioning exercise for and we went on for a couple of months working with the council to establish their vision for the town core area. So. From a timeline, we'll be bringing this back for a replat to the council, and once we get that, we are right now, we've engaged an architectural firm to set up some architectural guidelines. Kerstin, could you address that?
So in the meantime, we're doing a lot of great things to set us up for success. We are looking at Roth Shepherd out of Denver, and we're meeting mid-October here. We're going to do a kickoff call, and then as part of this process, we'll do some community input sessions. So stay tuned for those, but the community will come in. We'll talk a lot about the look and the feel of architecture moving forward. And what we worked with our economic development advisory committee and council on this to kick this project off. And what we really liked about Roth Shepherd is that we're not going to be talking about specific materials and saying you need to have this kind of brick or this kind of wood here, but we're going to be looking at form and space and sort of footers and rooftops. And what we really liked about this sort of approach is that it allows us to, in our guiding documents, it talks about denser, more urban spaces. But what does that mean in our really unique mountain lake style setting?
Right.
So putting a visual context to that brand of mountain lake style. And also it really, and I think what council liked about it was this idea that you can have traditional to modern, and it all sort of weaves together.
Right.
And you have that feel that it's tied in and a thoughtful, well laid out plan without having to be cookie cutter.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that does make Dillon unique is that we do have a lot of very individual styles within the town, and I think that's something that's actually, it's actually something that's sort of fun and creates a sense of identity for the town and a way to be able to keep some of that while also having a little more cohesive planning process and framework is going to be really important. I think that one of the things that was or certainly that I've learned over the course of time was that redevelopment's actually spurred on and helped by having some of these documents in this guide, some of these guiding principles. There's the developers are less interested. Like if you're not doing the work to show what you want to see in your community and how you want to develop, developers are less likely to come in and invest in your community if they don't think that you're being sort of thoughtful about managing what it's going to look like into the future. That makes it less attractive, and as a result, anybody who comes you're going to get less attractive product. So there's a lot of value to doing this work, and it actually spurs as opposed to hinders development, which I think is sort of a common misunderstanding about what some of this is for.
Timeline-wise, the council will see this October, November. That'll run simultaneously with the architectural guidelines that are being designed.
Right.
Did you tell me 45 days on that?
Yeah, 45 days from that kickoff, which is going to be mid-October. And then the next really cool thing that is the timing. It's just really working out well for us. And to your point, Kevin, it allows us to check back in on our guiding documents. We've been awarded a free technical assistance grant through the Office of Economic Development. And so hopefully, again, we'll have community sessions around this, and we're hoping to have that sort of the last of October through the first week of November. And basically, industry experts are going to be coming up. They're going to be looking at our documents. They're going to be looking at sort of this quiver of tactics that we have for economic development, and we're going to be preparing a strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat a document based on those to really be, offers us a point to check in with experts, see if we need to correct anything, where we are, and move forward. And also, as part of that, they're going to look at us against other top sort of tourism communities that are heavy reliance on recreation and travel industry, and sort of identify what the missing need might be. And I think that'll just be really great to touch back in with that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So along with that, we are going to review our comp plan to make sure that we've made minimal modifications of a document that was created in 2002. So we're looking to see if that's still relevant and what it should look like.
Right.
So all those things are happening. And once we have all that packaged together, we're going to reach out to the development community and see what opportunities they see in the town of Dillon, which we think are many. So we're going to be quite busy through the winter.
Yeah. We're not on a break just because there's not the summer concerts going on anymore, for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of fun and lots of opportunity for community engagement. So we'll be posting these online. We'll be talking about them in the council meetings, which are the first and third Tuesday of every month. We'd love to see people there, and we'll have them up on the digital board. So we want people to come in and be part of this process. And because this, again, comes back, we'll be checking in with our comprehensive document, and it'll be reflected in the years to come.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
It would be a good idea if most folks are savvy enough that we have a brand new website out there that has easy access to all the things that we're doing. So check it out. Things you like, don't like, let us know. It's always a work in progress. So I think we covered quite a bit of what we're doing there. I don't know. I have nothing to add. My pointer has been laid to rest. So
I don't know if we can direct to do too much more work than that. Actually, that's pretty much we're keeping you guys pretty busy these days. So
It's a lot of fun. We're enjoying it a ton. Thanks for checking in with the Dillon Dialogue.
see you next time, everyone.